Part 4. When Rainbow Dash expressed her opinion of how similar Sonata, Dusk, and Pinkie Pie really were, she had no lasting conception of how true this statement was. And Pinkie, Sonata, and Pinkie's sister Maud were all sitting at a bar. A stranger might be forgetting that Sonata and Pinkie were sisters, and Maud was to hang her on. Pinkie Pie's birthday party was in full swing by the time Sonata and Rainbow got there. Whilst Rainbow Dash excused herself to make some quick phone calls. Sonata dived headfirst into the fun as Pinkie enthusiastically called her on to join in. Sonata was happy for a moment she was allowed to make the kids laugh with her ditzy one-liners. Play the fall puppet in Pinkie's Punch and Judy Theater, and out eating Pinkie Pie when it came to birthday cake. I only have 5 cakes today, Pinkie called out defiantly, as Sonata proclaimed victory and the kids all cheered the conquering army. Lucy Sweepers, Sonata laughed. You have 3, Pinkie announced, standing one hoof on the table and leaning in like an action movie hero. Sonata stood up too, her expressive confidence. Challenge accepted, she declared, pointing a fruitorious finger at Pinkie. They both turned to the corner, where Mr. and Mrs. Cake were both looking pale, as they both knew this was coming. Bring on the cake! Both competitors cried, an accompanying cheer for the crowd of children. Mrs. and Mrs. Cake gulped audibly. By the time everyone else arrived at Sugar Cube Corner, and the excitable children had been led away by tired parents, Sonata and Pinkie were both essentially too full to move. Mr. and Mrs. Cake were looking wan. Sunset arrived last. Sonata looking around distracted to find Rainbow Dash and Applejack laughing and poking into 2 cake monsters, whilst Rarity and Fluttershy sat back taking notice. You Sunset, Sonata wheezed, rubbing her stomach. You look tired. Huh? Sunset said, sitting down. Yeah, it's been kind of a long day, hasn't it? Sonata agreed. Want some chocolate cake? Pinkie Bird, touching! You have to eat it all yourself. No, I'm good, Sonata groaned. You win. Well, Pinkie breathed, wrestling and trembling arms and slipping sideways on the floor. Still, can't clean. Unless you can't keep it down, Rainbow grinned, poking her distended stomach. Don't tell her that! Pinkie moaned, Dulcie looking distinctly green. Anyway, Applejack said, pulling Rainbow upright to stop her making a mess out of Pinkie Pie. So what's going on? Rainbow said it was urgent we all talk. Well, that'll help. Sonata eased herself onto her seat and proceeded between gentle sips of water to explain what had happened to Arya, their trip there that day, and how things stood at the present. Oh, the poor dear, Fluttershy sniffed, dabbing her cheeks with a napkin. What a dreadful position to be in, Rarity said secretly. On account of Mazda not being able to walk again, with no home to go to or friends to take care of her. So I suppose we have a plan of some sort to help her out, then? Applejack asked, frowning seriously. Pinkie mumbled something into affirmative under the table, but no one heard what it was. Oh yeah, Rainbow grinned. Wait till you hear this. She looked pointedly at Sonata. Everyone looked around at her. Pinkie, for good measure, slaying beneath the table, and easing herself with all the nerve of a wounded snail laying on the bench. Sonata took a deep breath. My idea is... She looked around at the faces of her friends, all eagerness and polite expectation. A single hint of doubt. My idea is to hold a fundraising concert. The other group under the Rainbow Sunset looked appropriately surprised. On top of our apartment building. Several moments of silence went by. At the Rainbow brought to attention. Awesome, huh? She said with satisfaction. For all the world, it was her that suggested it. A concert? Rarity asked, looking uncertain. What do you mean, darling? I mean, you guys play songs to a crowd people didn't give us money. Yes, I got that part, Rarity said with a laugh. What else do you need to know? Rainbow asked. Well, for one, Applejack put in, we'll need a permit from the city for that. Now the money's for Sunsets and now his landlord. That filthy race ain't exactly known for his generosity. Doesn't your family do business with him? Rainbow asked. Exactly, Applejack said darkly. We know how he is better than most. So what do we know about getting a permit at least? Sonata felt uncomfortable to be the center of attention when she had no answer. She glanced at Sunset, who still seemed to be distracted by something. Sunset, are you okay? Sunset looked up as though coming out of a reverie. What? You were looking up that stuff, weren't you? Rainbow asked, leaning across the table. About the permanent stuff? Oh. Sunset cleared her throat slightly. Yeah. We can get one, I should think. If I put in a request now, it says we could do it in 2 weeks, since we'd be operating on private property. We only need a permit to overcome the noise ordinance. Well, that's that then, Rainbow said. Oh, you guys are up for it, aren't you? They all nodded and answered in the affirmative. Pinky raised slowly over the tabletop and gave a shaky thumbs up. Then let's let this sort out, Rainbow asked confidently. Money, Applejack said badly. We'll need money to get equipment and stuff. Also, Filthy Rich is going to want payment to use his property. You really don't like him, do you? Radio sir. Tell you a matter of lack of him, Applejack said. He's a businessman, and a good one. That means he ain't always straight with you. Don't worry about that, Sunset said confidently. I'll deal with Filthy. He prefers Rich, Applejack pointed out, her lip curling. I know he does, Sunset smiled. But you're right. The money for setting everything up is going to be the biggest problem. Vile might be able to help us out with some cheaper equipment to rent. Sonata didn't like doing it, but she knew that Sunset was the best qualified person to deal with this sort of administrative thing. She wanted with all her heart to help her, and understood from long experience that intentions were to help all well and good, but her inability to do so would more likely than not simply mean she got in the way. Well, can't we put some meat sauces? Rarity asked. Certainly we all have something to put to sauces. It really looked awkward. None of them really did. Abstract allowance was pitifully small. Rainbow Dash's father managed her money, and Fluttershy donated the vast majority of hers to the animal shelter. Pinkie Pie was a little less frugal than the rest of them, so I honestly couldn't say she had a penny to put forward. Well, I'll have to think about it, Sunset said. She frowned thoughtfully for a few moments, and raised her eyebrows as though something were coming to her. You got some sugar cream? Applejack asked. Maybe. I'll get back to you on it. It might be worth following up on. Okay, Rainbow said decisively. So that aside for a moment, what about songs? One moment, Rainbow Dash, Rarity put in. What about advertisements? It's no good hiding a concert, no one knows what we're playing. I had the advertising part covered, Sonata said to general surprise. You do? Rarity asked. Her son was audible in tone. I mean, that's good. What did you have in mind? She giggled nervously. Well, I don't know if it'll work yet, and I'll need Pinky's help. And I need her to do me his favor. Works, I'll need your help too, Rarity. Whatever you need, Pinky cried. I know I can design posters. And the distribution access comes with the permit. There, Sunset added. Now can we discuss songs? Rainbow asked plaintively. What about costumes? Rarity asked enthusiastically. One or two people gave an audible groan, although one of them must have been Pinkie Pie representing a bird. What? We can't possibly wear the same ones as last time. What else do you all think about and get back to us? Applejack said in a tired voice. Seemed to be taking a great deal of her patience to maintain it cool. Songs? Rainbow asked brightly. As her short pause of Rarity fuming and Applejack sighing. I have a few we could try, Fluttershy put intensively. I mean, do you remember Love? Holy Lonely Night? Where's the need to come up with something? Rainbow Dash assured. Well, that's everything, right? She's smiling around at everyone, all seeming to agree. Right, now does someone miss a cake? Pinky gagged on the table. Sonata arrived back home much later than Sunset did. Her roommate jumped right off her seat to the door and the apartment flew open, hit the wall, followed by pink and blue boots. Right here! Came Pinky's high-pitched squeals. A veritable wall of neatly folded canvas pressed against the door frame with a It screamed through the doorway and rolled across the ground towards her. Sonata appeared behind the floating pile, along with Pinkie Pie. He beamed easily at Sunset's look of shock. Sonata, what is that? That's Pinky's sister, she answered. A wall-shaking crash boomed through the room as the pile of canvas was tossed flatly on the floor. A gray face with permanent violet-colored hair and Pinky's bright blue eyes slid sideways from behind the canvas, casting an aura of tense gloom upon the room. Despawn! Pinky sang, evidently not troubled in the least. You're the best sister ever. Thanks, Moss said monotonously. See you later. She added in the same dull tone, exiting the room. She's so helpful, Pinky squeaked. Freaky strong, too, Sonata added. The canvas weighs a ton. This is the year John rocks, Pinky said seriously. I'll be by later to Pinky, okay? Thanks, Pinky. You're the best. No, you're the best. They launched their fists together in an epic bro fist. Was missed by miles. Sunset tried to hold in a snort, but it shot out her nose. Once Pinky had left, Sonata bounced onto the sofa, crossed her legs and smiled at Sunset. "Where did you put my sketch pad?" she asked. "Here," Sunset said quickly, handing it to her. Before Sonata could say a word, she returned instantly to her laptop. Sonata frowned slightly as he saw Sunset blushing, but shrugged it off as he opened her pad. "I guess this is nice to do," she said, instantly up to Sunset and pairing a screen. "What are you up to?" "Trying to see if I could get my employers some fun nuts." "Your employers?" Sonata asked as he started. "Wait, you work?" "Of course I work," Sunset laughed. He looked at Sonata incredulously. "How do you think I pay my half of the rent?" Sonata had to admit he had a point there. "So, what do you do?" "I'm the webmaster and accountant for the Flint Flam Brothers Everything Under the Sun Emporium." "Huh?" Sonata exclaimed. "Believe it or not, I'm an adult by equestrian terms. I was an accountant besides Celestia's student. The website making thing I learned at school and online." "Huh." Sonata began again, but more subdued. "Well, you're still a teenager here." "Yeah," Sunset said slowly. "I appreciate if you didn't tell anyone this was my job," she said knowingly. "Wait a second. You work for those guys that own the pawn shop?" "Well, it's not exactly a pawn shop. They're not registered." "Those guys swindled me out of my favorite jacket." Sonata went on a little while about those two jerks. Sunset let her do it while she tended to the paperwork for the scheme. Within an hour, Sonata settled down, wrote down 3 or 4 poster designs, which began to work on a master plan. Good to grace of the whole enterprise. She was so enamored in her own little world that she didn't notice the side glasses Sunset kept giving her every few minutes. "What do you think of these?" she asked finally. Sunset surfed the news. "I like this one," Sunset said thoughtfully, after considering the 4 designs. It featured Fergal's love of their band, with Rainbow and Sunset at the front singing and playing, Piggy at the back of their drums. There are friends in between. The legend the Rainbows was sticking out over the top. "Okay," Sonata replied. Although I changed the front of the writing to something that goes more with the clothing and background. Think on the clothing man, so we want to check out with Rarity and draw the clothes she makes us. Sonata scribbled some notes about Sunset's advice in the back of the page, sent them all away. She went to get up, but Sunset began to speak again. "Sonata, can I ask you something?" "That guy counted me is asking something." "Oh, I deserved that one, didn't I?" "I just gotta ask her, do you have anyone you like?" "I like lots of people." "I mean..." She paused and said something on her breath. Perhaps there's a neck. "I mean, someone you fancy. Someone you know you like." Sonata blinked. The term was not familiar to her, to be honest. "You mean, is there someone I'm in love with?" "Yeah. Lots of people used to love me," Sonata said a little sadly. "I'm into it, so I suppose it doesn't really count. But I've never been in love with someone, I don't think." "Oh," Sunset said. Her eyes were fixed on the computer screen, but they didn't move. "Why'd you ask?" "No reason, really. I just wondered." Sonata raised an eyebrow. "What made you wonder?" "When I was in case, he asked, is there someone you like?" Sunset didn't answer immediately. She seemed to multiple question over seriously, opening her mouth with great deliberation. "I don't know." "You know there's something you like?" Sonata asked. This made no sense to her. "Surely you either like someone or you didn't, right?" "Well, I'm not sure how they feel, so I'm not sure how I feel," Sunset elaborated dully. She sat back on the sofa and folded her arms, looking deep in thought. "How do you know someone likes you?" she asked finally. Looking at Sonata for the first time, Sonata looked into her eyes. Despite her naive disposition, she saw that the question was one Sunset very much wanted answering. So it was something monumentally important to her. Sunset gave it due consideration. "You asked him, I guess." Sunset's eyes widened. She looked faintly taken aback. "You asked him?" she muttered in a wondering tone. So the notion was startlingly imaginative. Sonata watched her ponder this for a few moments and snickered. "Shimmy, you're so silly." She bumped her shoulder to Sunset companionably. "Well, why are you being so serious about this?" Sunset's thoughtful expression melted in a small smile. "You're right," she said, so amused at her own foolishness. "Guess I'm just tired or something. All this red tape wears you out, you know." "How about I get us a coffee for $7 down on 12th?" Sonata said, giving Sunset's shoulder a rousing shake. "Are you one of those circle pretzel things you like?" Sunset's face brightened. "Yeah, I like that." She reached for the bag. "Don't worry, I got this one," Sonata said before I was standing up. "I know you for everything. And all this red tape has to be hard. You're doing because I asked you to." She paused, feeling suddenly warm. At least I'll get coffee. Outside the apartment door, Sunset Sonata paused and looked back at the door, wondering. Thoughts trailed after her as she made her way out of the complex and down to the street coffee shop. Although she didn't know it, both she and Sunset Simmer were having the same reflection, both having equally bad luck at coming any sort of conclusion.